Hi, my name's Charlet Caroline and I'm the founder of UKCV Family.
I'm Caroline Pover. I'm a member of UKCV Family and I'm the author of the COVID Vaccine Adverse Reaction Survival Guide. And this is our attempt somehow of getting part of not just our stories actually, but our lives out into the world somehow. We don't know quite how this is going to work. Neither of us do this kind of thing at all, but we're going to give it a go, and we're going to do some episodes, invite some of our friends in, our vaccine injured friends, to talk about life in general. It's not always as utterly miserable as you'd think, although it is for a lot of the time. Sometimes there's a lot of humour, and we thought we kind of wanted to share a bit of that as well. And every episode we're going to have a different question that we kind of base our discussion on. And as you're watching, if you have questions, then leave them in the comments and we'll maybe make that a theme for another session. And so theme for today, we thought we'd start off with what the what the bloody hell are we doing here, Charlotte?
I don't know, really. I mean, would you have thought 2 years ago that you'd be sitting here talking about some sort of trauma that you've been through and are going through still, and just campaigning like we are? I mean, it's bonkers, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I've been through enough trauma in my life. I really didn't need this one. I thought I had already learned all of the lessons that life was going to tell me, and I think that in itself is quite an interesting topic that seems to come up a lot within people within the vaccine injured community as well, aren't they? I don't know whether it makes, are we more sensitive? Are we people who have been brought together because we like to connect with other people who are like-minded? Somehow it's we have a lot of interesting, sometimes very challenging experiences in our lives as well, and a lot of us, I don't think we really needed this one.
No, I agree, but it's like, you know, I think a lot of people sort of play over that regret cycle and that self-pity cycle when it comes to things like this, and it's just not helpful. It's definitely not helpful for me, and I find that as soon as I change my mindset to that kind of feeling that I'm where I'm supposed to be, even though it's been traumatic and it's impacted my entire life, I do see this as where I'm supposed to be at this moment in my life. So once you get to that place, once you start to realize that you are where you're supposed to be, even if it is even if it seems negative at times, it's a lot easier to deal with, because you know you're where you're supposed to be. I don't know if you feel like that.
I do. I always find, and I've found this with other things in my life that have been difficult actually, when I've looked at that experience and thought, right, how can something from that experience help other people? So whether it's been in I've been in a domestic abuse situation before, I've been in there's been other trauma related situations before, and I found, sometimes not immediately, not in the immediate years, but much later, I've found an opportunity to help other people who've been in that kind of situation. And it's been at that point, much later, where I've thought, I'm actually glad I went through that. And but it takes a long time to get there. But I think it somehow helps me. It has helped me make sense of that experience. I'm not there with this one, nowhere near it. But I'm at the stage where I am finding this situation much easier to deal with if I'm able to help someone else, if other things that I've learned can somehow help someone else. And you, I mean, for you epitomized that. You started this UKCV Family was it in November?
Yeah, I think it was mid-November.
And the work that you put into running the group and providing support from it for everybody is incredible. And you can't work now, can you?
No, I can't stand up for long enough in one spot, because I've got POTS. So if for anyone that doesn't know, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome basically means the autonomic nervous system isn't working properly. So when you stand up, your blood pools in your feet, so you're not getting as much to your heart and brain. So then you become tachycardic, so your heart pumps faster and faster and faster, and it doesn't slow down. So it just keeps increasing. And with that, then I start to get tremors, really dizzy, brain fog. I start to feel really sick. So a lot of my job as a sports therapist was standing upright, a lot of manipulation, massage, you know, stretching people's legs and lifting them up and all sorts of stuff I can't even do for myself at the moment. So, you know, and then on top of that, you know, the brain fog that we get, the brain fuggle or whatever you want to call it, part of my job was putting together like rehabilitation plans for people, so staged exercises for maybe a month or two, so to see them through their rehabilitation, and it takes a lot of mental capacity to do all of that as well. So, you know, one appointment with someone would be an hour, and then there'd be half an hour of kind of homework as well to do for that one person. So yeah, I you know, it's been 16 months now, and I've had a year off work, and I can't see me being able to do that. I'm just at the stage now. I had a shower. This is a small win. I had a shower the other night, standing up for the first time in months. To make myself feel sick. I've got a shower stool, and which I use normally, but this, I did actually manage to have a shower standing up for a 5-minute shower, but I managed it, so it's like a great accomplishment. But yeah, I can't see me getting back to work. But I mean, the way you've dealt with this is kind of by doing what you do as a part of your living. I mean, you wrote a book.
Yeah, that for me, I've literally just got like 6 different conversations I could take you on. Then I'll come back to the book in a minute. But what I was going to say, what I was saying about your work is that because you can't work, you literally spend your time full time now, so organising everybody and doing everything for UKCV Family, and that you've created a massive amount of meaning from this experience, that benefits, what are we now, we're nearly 600 people, is it today? We'll be 600, won't we?
Yeah, I think we're on 600 now. Yeah.
So that's just vaccine injured people in the UK who know of us, and we're growing at a rate of 30 a week, and you're basically devoting all of your time into managing that group. And what a way to find some kind of meaning from a horrific experience. It's brilliant.
I think you have to. You know, like you, I've been through some quite traumatic experiences in my life, and the way I've dealt with those is by using them to find meaning. There's a meaning that comes out of those experiences, you know, even in the most negative situations. There's always something that means something, that can mean something to you. And you know, the connections that you make with other people is just so important in this situation, because as much as I've helped other people, they're helping me. Without my support group, I don't know where I would have been. And you know, we're called UKCV Family because, well, let me break it down. We're called UKCV Family because we're in the UK. Facebook wouldn't allow us to call ourselves, to have the word vaccine in our name, so we had to break it down to CV, COVID vaccine, and then family. And we are like one big family, aren't we, now?
Yeah.
You know, we've got the younger ones that we all look after, and then we've got like our mother hens, and then we've got, you know, we've got this little group that just kind of all rallies together when someone's having a bad day. And you know, you put on the group, oh, I'm having a really tough day today, and suddenly you've got 5-6 messages in your inbox. Do you want to call? You know, do you want to Zoom? So it's really lovely. So it gives me back just as much as I give to it. So it, you know, that's the way I see it anyway.
Where did we meet originally? Which we met on, was it it must have been one of the international groups.
We met probably on the, I think it was one of the international groups. Yeah.
I
Yeah, because I was,
go on.
I think it was one of your posts. I know what post it was. It was the post about we were someone had had a tough time at their doctors. This was last year in the summer, when everyone was just getting a blanket. They were just being gaslighted, weren't they, all the time at the doctors? And you had written a post about things that you could say if your doctor, you know, responded in that way to you. And it was that post, I think, that we met. And then you had the experience with the blood, and I commented and said that I'd had the same experience with the bloodletting thing. Yeah, and I think that's where we met.
I think I wonder if oh, I've forgotten what I was going to say. See, brain gone completely. Then I literally was going off on a thread, and now it's gone again. So. And I'm having not a bad day today. I've had, I think, this might be day 3 of having a fairly decent functioning brain, which is really unusual. I don't have consecutive days. I don't know about you, but when it's actually, yeah, it's actually working. And I think, what day is it today? It's Friday. So it was Tuesday when the phlebotomist came over. And we must do something about blood. We'll do like a whole kind of conversation about blood with someone else who's doing the blood thing too. But just briefly, for anyone watching who's not kind of following what some of us are doing, I have a pint of blood taken out every 2 months, and that restores my cognitive functions. And I have it done privately. And I'm trying something different. I've got a theory that if I take a smaller amount of blood out on a more regular basis, then it might hopefully extend the benefits of therapeutic phlebotomy. And I don't want to be paying £120 every time to have somebody come to my house once a week to try and to get this blood taken. So I decided to learn how to do it myself. So on Tuesday, I think it was, yeah, did my first go, and I didn't take much out at all, but I've noticed the last 3 days there's just that little sparkle, just feels like it's back just a little bit. I don't know how long it will last for, but I have noticed a difference since she came over.
Yeah, I'm having quite a good day today. My circulation's a bit funny. My feet are tingling up to my knees. So that's not too bad, because normally I tingle or I get pins and needles right up to my waist. And my circulation is a bit funny. I've got quite a high heart rate, but I don't feel nauseous, which is great, because I basically felt nauseous throughout the whole thing, unless it's the odd good day. I had one good day in the whole of the last winter. One.
What's a good day for you then?
A good day is like today, where I can get out of bed, I can get dressed, I can make myself a herbal tea or something, and if I'm up to it, I will go to the field down the road with my dogs, and I'll just walk around the field once with them and let them run around and chase rabbits and things. So yeah, that's a good day. But there's like a chronic fatigue syndrome type thing to this, where you have so many spoons. So if I choose to get up, get dressed, make my bed, make myself some breakfast, that's 4 spoons gone. And then if I choose to go for a walk, that's probably another 4 spoons. So then I'm left with 2 spoons, and I've got to decide, do I want to spend those 2 spoons on having a bath, or do I want to spend a spoon on making a phone call, or do I, you know? So my energy is very limited even on a good day, and I have to decide what I want to do with that energy. And like I say, last year, the whole of the winter, there was one good day. Now they're becoming more frequent, which gives me hope. But I'm still having to pace, you know, I'll still have to go and lay down after this. this will probably give me a half an hour lay down afterwards. And I spend most of my time sat on the sofa, but it's better than last year, because most of last year I was laying in bed.
Are you really strict? Do you have quite, because I'm quite strict with what I allow myself to do each day in order to maximize that time where I have a little bit of energy and try to prevent any kinds of crashes which feel out of my control. I feel like I just feel like they're randomly going to come. So I live constantly trying for those not to happen. And I have quite strict rules with what I will and won't do in order to protect myself, I suppose. Do you have things like that?
Yeah, I do now. I didn't to start with, because like any, I don't want to sound sexist, but like any woman, can I say that? Or any kind of like working woman, I suppose, I've always been a very busy person. So, you know, before I got ill, my day would start at 6 a.m. and then I'd be walking dogs, and then I'd go to work for 8 a.m. I'd work 3 or 4 hours because I'm self-employed. So I always made sure I had an hour and a half in the middle of the day to come back and walk the dogs again. So they'd get a walk in the morning, again at lunchtime. Then I'd go back to work and work for another 2 or 3 hours. And then I'd come home, do the dinner, hoover, etc. And 2 nights a week, I actually went back to work as well and worked through till 9:30 at night. So going from being such a busy person and fitting the gym in on top of all of that, you know, weight training a few times a week, going for a jog a few times a week, all of these things. So going from being such a busy person to being someone that now has very limited energy and has to be very strict with themselves, it's been really difficult. And, you know, Ian's been great. He's my partner. He kind of has told me off when I've tried to do things that he knows will make me ill.
I love Ian. I love him.
So I haven't cooked a meal for well over a year.
I've not done one bit of housework in over a year. Matthew does everything. He's amazing. We're lucky, aren't we?
Yeah, we are lucky. I mean, he can't stop me from hoovering now and then, because hoovering's always been a thing for me. So every now and then I do hoover. And I do, now I'm starting to have the odd good day, I will pick up a duster every now and then, but he does tell me off. So, you know, it's just been difficult. It has been difficult being strict with myself.
I've got my rule. I'm really sticking to this one. I like this one a lot. I will only book in one conversation a day. So that might be a you know, when we chat, or it might be a meeting with the group, or it might be a meeting with, so it can be about anything, but or a meeting with a doctor actually as well. So, but anything that involves any kind of interaction, I'm really strict, and I just have one a day. And I find that really helps. And that makes me laugh when I think back to my days when I lived in Tokyo years ago, and I was on the go, constantly out and about, and my diary was just one appointment to another. It was non-stop. And then when I moved back to England, my business here was very much based at home, so I didn't have to be out and about in appointments or anything. But it was still full on, like same as you, 6 o'clock in the morning. I was out with the dog, and then, but I've always been one for going to bed early though. I like to go to bed at 9 o'clock. I always did that.
You see, I haven't. I've always been a bit of a night owl. But since all this has happened, I tend to have to, even on a good day, I need to lay down by about 6 p.m. So by about 5 p.m, I start to notice my brain starts to go very fuzzy. I start to feel a bit jittery and shaky. And it's not food shaky, it's a different type of shaky. And I just don't feel, I start to feel really off. And as soon as I lay in bed and lay flat, obviously there's the POTS thing that starts all that off. But as soon as I lay in bed and I lay flat, I start to feel a bit better again. But yeah, I'm asleep by sort of 10 every night now anyway. But before all this, I mean, yeah, some nights I could stay up till midnight. Okay.
God, I couldn't do that now. I definitely couldn't do that now.
No, I have done, because obviously I went through a period of insomnia with this. Did you?
Yeah, in the early days. It was weird. I've never had insomnia in my life. And there I was, I'd go to bed, normal time, but absolutely wide awake. And
Yeah.
I'd never experienced it before. I didn't know what it was.
Did you ever get the sleep jerks, the sleep thingies? The adrenaline
kind
dump.
of drifting off and your body just does that. I've done that my whole life though.
But these are different. I've never done them before. These are like you're not even asleep. So that bit where you just lay down and you close your eyes, and it's that bit, you're not asleep yet. You're just, I used to be able to, in the early days when this first started, I could bring it on just by closing my eyes. And I even had it sat upright a few times. It's like this really weird adrenaline rush comes over you, and then I get a chest pain, a stabbing kind of chest pain, and then like one of my arms or my legs will just keep tapping or twitching.
No, I don't have some of your symptoms, and same on the group actually. Some of them just sound horrific. I don't know how you cope. Mine are challenging enough, but some of them just sound awful.
I think it must be related to adrenaline and histamine and cortisol. It's something to do with when you try to relax, and the order in which your brain switches different functions off is messed up. That's what I've read anyway.
My acupuncturist helped me a lot with the sleep issues, and there were specific points that she used that were related to sleep, and I always found the night that I came back from an appointment with her, my sleep really improved. It was like she described it to me, it was something to do with everything being out of sync, and we had to work really hard to get things back in sync again. I wrote, as you know, the first chapter in the book is all about sleep, and that was right from the beginning. I knew that was going to be the best thing that I needed to do in order to get better, and that applies, I think, with any illness, any trauma, any stressful situation, and anything. Sleep, I think our bodies, they do amazing things when we're sleeping. So if something's happened to us that switched our body's physical ability to get into that process, that's just not going to help with our recovery at all. Sometimes I see some of our community and they're wide awake at like 2-3 o'clock on their screens and messaging each other and stuff, or posting on the group, and I think we have to put our screens away, don't we? I tried to put mine away at 9 o'clock. I'm not always very good. Actually, I tried to do it before then. I'm not always very good at it. But it's in the early days, I had to put it away at about 7 o'clock in the evening because I needed a good few hours to somehow get my brain out of that mode of looking at a screen.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think some people have been ill now for so long that they've actually, I hear especially some of the young guys, they seem to almost be sleeping all day and up all night now. They've got into this sleep cycle of, they've literally switched. And it's like you say, it's a shame because it's good to get, even if you can just sit out in your back garden for half an hour and get some fresh air, or even just be part of your household for half an hour of the day. It's better than being completely isolated, because that's the thing for a lot of us. What happened was we had a year of being locked in our homes, or not locked in, because I didn't lock myself in. I was actually going out for 10-mile walks with my dogs. I mean, I didn't do all that you can only go out for an hour business. No.
Me neither.
I was like, I'm going to walk as long as I like in the countryside, because I'm not going to bump into the
hiking, I
soul.
was running, I was going for it.
But we were kind of like isolated from a lot of things, weren't we, for over a year? And then just as we were coming out of that, we got ill.
Yeah.
And then we were isolated for yet another year because we've been too ill to get out.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's still a lot of people on the groups that barely go out, you know. And that, you know, there's people on the groups that have got pre-existing ME, CFS. And, you know, they're the ones that I feel really sorry for, because, you know, not only have they had that, they've now got this on top, so they're kind of even doubly affected. And I think that's where the group really comes into its own, doesn't it? Because, you know, we can this is where the internet is great, because we can connect with each other and you don't feel quite so isolated.
We're going to run out of time in a minute, so this might be quite a good way maybe to stop before, and give people something to think about perhaps before we do try another episode, and just to remind people to leave a question or something below. We're new to this, we don't really know what we're doing, we're just kind of going with the flow a bit. But the thing perhaps that we can leave people with is, we were talking about sleep, and maybe people can just have an extra little think about how they are, what their sleep patterns are like. Are they as healthy as they could be? Can you in any way just try to get 1 hour's extra sleep between now and chatting next time? That might be something that anybody can try. That we all need more sleep. Nobody seems to get enough sleep, do they?
No. It's good for you to relax and wind down and have a routine at bedtime, I think.
Yeah. So let's all try and do that. I'll try and do it too. And we'll stop messaging and talking to each other late at night too. And then so we'll talk to people again. We'll see if we get some other people on to chat as well, or see what other kind of interesting topics that we might have to come up. You and I can talk forever. So
we can. Yeah. The only thing we don't want anyone to send us is protocols.
No, don't. And I don't want any pine needle tea. So I don't want it. Thank you very much. Anyway, no pine.
I was just picturing this, like you were saying, please send stuff, and I'm thinking, oh no, I'm going to get.
No, not a protocol. No, just ask a random question. Just any kind of random question. If you're curious about what life is like, about vaccine injured people, then just post a question, and we'll see if we can. We'll end up. We can talk about anything. So we'll end up talking around it. But yeah, no, honestly, I think maybe a good, if we have to change, if we get thrown off Facebook and we have to make a new group, I think maybe we should call it no more pine needle tea.
I do actually like pine needle tea, so if anyone wants to send me some pine needle tea, that's fine.